We continue on with our 1 year anniversary show, bringing back a number of the guests that appeared on the very first episode back on August 19th of 2025. And another one of those is Zach Baird, head coach of the Hoisington Cardinals. Going into, is this year 13 as head coach?
Year 13 is right, man.
Nice, nice. Hey, appreciate you coming back on the show. How's the summer been?
It's been good, man. It's been busy, but felt like we had a good summer and had a good turnout in the weight room. So got 13 seniors, and I'm excited to get to work with them.
I've been asking like all these coaches that have been coming on during the summer on the show, Zach, like what's the mentality for you? Like once summer starts, like when does that page officially turn and okay, like, yep, let's lock in on 2026. When does that start for you?
Yeah, I think it's the start of summer. For all intent and purposes, our season starts. If you don't have a good summer, your chances of being successful are pretty much, none. So when summer starts, it feels like football mode's kind of ramping up and it's time to go. So, for us, definitely the start of summer.
Have the evolution of like your summers as a head coach, like how have you treated it? Has anything changed from like, the beginning of your career to now, or do you kind of keep things the same?
We try to tweak it if we think we can make it better, but for the most part, it's same old, same old. Obviously, we've been blessed and have had good kids, so we've been successful. So a lot of it's still looks the same, year 13 as it did year 1.
All right, so you were on the very first episode, so I want to go back to August 19th, 2025. Let me bring this up. And you had this to say about your Flexbone.
I took over after being a DC for 3 years, and my first thought was, who could I get in touch with that does something that's been really successful? And at that time, Randy Dreiling was at Hutch, and obviously everybody knows how successful he was there. So I just kind of went through some people I knew. Dustin Damel played here at Hoisington, and he had a connection to Randy Dreiling. So used that connection and got a chance to meet Coach Dreiling, and Coach was gracious enough to sit down with me and visit with me.
I thought that was really cool, just how you brought in that flex. So, like, did you ever get any refreshers from Randy, like over the years, like any refreshers on your flex?
Yeah, especially early, had a ton of questions for him. And probably the coolest thing is it would be a shocking number if we really found out how many programs Coach Dreiling has helped over the years. But definitely early was always picking his brain, and he put on a clinic every year, still does, just haven't been able to go to it here recently. So I'm not near smart enough or creative enough to come up with anything on my own. So kind of the way I approached schoolwork was I was always just trying to find people that were smarter than I was to kind of learn from. So.
Now, has anyone like reached out to you? I know like at least your coaching trio, I know like Ross Coombs out in Phillipsburg now, but like, does anyone kind of come up to you as far as like how you've run things over the last 13 years?
No, not really. And Coach Coombs does such a good job up in Phillipsburg. If anything, I'm usually trying to pick his brain and not the other way around. So, Coach Coombs definitely smarter than I am. But I think that's one thing football coaches do a great job of, regardless of what you do scheme-wise, is the majority of the coaches I've ever ran into always are willing to share ideas and how they do things. And I think that's probably a special thing that most football coaches do.
Hey, so we mentioned 13 years now as head coach and, 3 years before as a coordinator. Like, did you imagine, like, especially coming out of college, like that you would be back in your hometown in Hoisington coaching?
Even as a little kid, when my dad was coaching up here at Hoisington as an assistant, or Coach Webb, it was something I knew I had a passion for and always wanted to be around sports in some form or fashion. And, whether it was in Hoisington or not, I wouldn't have been able to tell you that. But from a pretty young age, I'd have been able to tell you that that was something I wanted to do with my life was get into coaching. So from that aspect of it, no, I'm not surprised there. As it turned out to be in Hoisington, obviously biased towards our community. So I couldn't imagine doing it in a better place than Hoisington.
And I think there's a lot of coaches that are, maybe there's some that are coaching at their alma mater or they've been there for a long time. They have that sense of community. But like, I think it is even more special for you. Like, after games, you always had that conversation with parents, but like, it's like the whole community comes down on that field and just to like know and just kind of love on you a little bit. Like, I don't know. That's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think Hoisington does a lot of cool things, and it's just based on the type of community we have. So, was extremely blessed to be here. Was blessed to have you for what was it, 11 years?
11,
11,
yeah.
11 years. And for a lot of that time, my father-in-law was with you. So there was just so many things as you look back over time and realize how fortunate we've been and how blessed we've been.
All right, your pregame rituals as far as getting things set up before the game starts, like that playlist of music. I feel like it's from like day one. Like I feel like a lot of the songs are on the same playlist. Like who selected some of those songs?
Coaches over the years.
Okay.
Coach England, it was his iPad for the longest time. Tua, last year was giving me some playlist. Brody Corbett has. So we ask our kids for advice on songs too. But I would say some of Tua's songs were okay. Some of them not very good. Wasn't a huge fan of. But we just try to make it the best experience we can for our guys. They get 4 years in the program, and so obviously I have some that I enjoy, make it on there. But no, that's a tough one. I couldn't tell you where the playlist came from to be honest with you. But we try to pick as many minds as we can.
All right, so outside of Enter Sandman, obviously, but is there any other one on the playlist that has to be on there for Zach?
K-State always played Stand Up for the Champions. I like that one.
Okay.
But Enter Sandman, that's Mr. Mason. That's our high school principal.
Okay.
That was one of his requests. And, there's some things that I think coaches, is really important to them. The songs we play in pregame or what we run out to, not real high on my priority list. So I really don't care. And so when he came up and he's like, hey, I think you should have Enter Sandman for the song you run out to. And I was like, well, it works for Virginia Tech. So
yep.
It's probably good enough for us. But I'm happy with that. That's just one less thing I have to worry about.
All right, it's a staple. Head coach Hoisington football, Zach Baird, joining us here on the show. When you break in a new quarterback like you will this year, like what's that process like, and just the time that you spend just kind of getting that quarterback ready?
Yeah, that's always a tough one. I think probably what really helps it and makes it a lot easier is those guys are repping that in practice, whether they're the starter or the backup or whether they're a freshman. But they're constantly learning that and repping that over and over from time they're a freshman. When we get them, so it's tough from a mental aspect, and there's a different form of leadership when you're in the huddle. So that's probably the biggest thing. By the time they actually do it in a game, though, they know what they're doing. They've repped it enough. It's a habit. So it's more than anything, just making sure they're mentally prepared to be the guy. I always tell our guys, everybody wants to be the quarterback until they're actually the quarterback. But I think Coulter Hahn's had a great summer for us. I think he'll do a fantastic job, and excited to see what he can do because, he has a knack for running the football. He's gotten better athletically every year, and he's just kind of an old school kid, man. He's got some toughness to him that will definitely help us go a little bit offensively.
Whether it's Coulter or anybody else, like have you noticed like the reps, does that help the most? Just like, hey, you rep it, or is it more of a mental game? It's just as far as like the knowledge, especially like football IQ, I guess, for a quarterback.
Yeah, I mean it's a mixture, but they've got to be able to know what we're doing, and the footwork's got to be right. Once they get that down, then the mental aspect really starts coming into play. And you've got to know what everybody's job is on the field, but you got to know who our read key is, who our pitch key is, and how to attack that. So just like anything, I think kids are able to do whatever you really need them to, as long as they get the reps that they need to make it a habit. Once it becomes a habit, now it's a whole lot easier. But without reps, it's extremely difficult. It's extremely tough. So. I would like to have a quarterback that started for 2 or 3 years. Sometimes that's just not the case. You look at Mason Haxton, who started for 4 years. We were talking about him. That's not the rule. That's usually the exception. Is it ideal to have a new quarterback every year? No, probably not. But sometimes that's just the way your group shakes out.
You brought up footwork, like, how big is that, especially your quarterback, even like on some of your exchanges in the style of offense that you have?
Yeah, it's huge. If anything's off, the mesh will be off. And if we have a problem in the mesh, the ball's usually hitting the turf, and that's obviously not an ideal situation. So it all starts with their feet, and I don't try to coach our kids up on how they're going to throw the ball upstairs, but whether it's a freshman quarterback or a senior quarterback, if we're throwing the ball, like the footwork, the base, that all needs to look the same. So for us, we're really put an emphasis on footwork and whether we're running or throwing it. So that's probably the biggest thing when we get a quarterback coming from middle school to high school is, we're gonna train the feet, and the footwork is gonna be done exactly right.
That start of the season, I think some coaches are in different boats. Like some of them just like, man, they want to get out there and they're tired of all the summer and they're ready for, a game week. But then others are like, man, we have a lot to get in. So like, which side do you fall on as far as like, hey, I'm ready to go, or I need more time?
I would take more time.
Okay.
We don't like, we're going to put our emphasis on the summer as far as getting bigger, faster, stronger. And, some programs do it certain ways, and they're having a ton of practices in the summer. We don't have a ton of practice in the summer. We have a couple camps we go to. The biggest thing is when we start next Monday, we got 39 guys out for football right now. I want all 39 guys coming in with some juice, looking forward to the season. And we have 4 to 5 months, however long our season goes, to coach these guys up and teach them stuff. So, I'm ready for summer to be over. I'm ready to get going. And, hopefully we got 39 guys and 13 seniors who are chomping at the bit. But, we've got, like I said, 4 to 5 months. And if we can't teach them what we need to in those 4 to 5 months, then I'm not doing a very good job, and our assistants aren't doing a very good job. So, man, we're excited. We're getting through Cardinal days right now, and Monday can't get here soon enough.
Zach, appreciate the time. Let me know if anybody makes any changes to that playlist. All right.
Cole, will do, man. Good visiting with you as always.
Zach Baird, head coach of the Hoisington football team. More of the show after this.